Gary, U.S. Army veteran of Hellfish Haven, and we are WAR. What does that stand for, Michael?
We are resilient, and that, in
Awesome.
fact, we are.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is just a hour convo on Wednesday night where we're talking with other people, ourselves, and without any further ado, I'm going to bring in a person last week who was chiming in on the chat, and his name is Craig, and I'll let you introduce him, Michael. Craig, you're live
Uh,
and nationwide, brother.
Good
Craig
evening,
served with
guys.
Craig served with me in the National Guard. It's part of the same MP battalion. We never got the chance to deploy together, but we were also in the same battalion, same deployment cycle, so we were heavily rotated in and out. Known him for several years, and he works for another nonprofit called New Englanders Helping Our Veterans. And Craig was going to jump on last week. Due to technical difficulties, was unable to, so we welcoming him on this week in lieu of last week.
All right.
All yours, Craig.
Yeah, Craig. Just take a minute and introduce yourself. And you were talking to us before, and I'm like, man, God, this man never slows down. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
All right, roger that. So good evening. Good to be on finally after the trials and tribulations of last week and the technical difficulties. But we ran a test drive this afternoon with Travis, and hopefully we're in play now. So for those who don't know me out in the audience, my name's Craig Chapman. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, 28 years, Mass National Guard, 3 deployments. And obviously veteran issues have come close and dear to near to my heart. I've been working with a nonprofit for a few years now called New Englanders Helping Our Veterans, and they actually brought me on board last year as the vice president. And as the president tells me, Jimmy, I think Mike's met Jimmy over at the Haven when they opened up over there. He says, I brought you in because you're going to be the president, right? But so, as time's clicking here, I'm looking towards retirement soon from my civilian job, and the nonprofit has really, over the last year or so, been on an uptick. And I know when I first started, I reached out to Mike, and I talked quite a bit about nonprofits and different platforms that might help us get established. And the biggest thing that I've seen is collaboration. And talking with Mike over the last year, and other nonprofits that have friends of ours and fellow comrades that deployed alongside us have now established some nonprofits. You have Jeff and Gagiolo over at Lockett Motors Foundation. You have Mike Peterson at Specialist Polini Memorial Foundation. Sorry about that. You hear that, but
It's all right.
And the big thing is like our nonprofit helps in sometimes small ways, but sometimes large ways, and we believe it takes a village to really help our veterans. And we all have our mission, and some may focus on the stigma of suicide in veterans and PTS and homelessness. There's tons of issues out there, and as we all know, and you guys have spoken about over the last couple of weeks, veterans are a proudful bunch, and for them to try and reach out for help, they feel it's a weakness. And a lot of things you were talking about last week really hit near and dear to me, and you couldn't see me, but I was like nodding my head up and down, like agreeing with everything. And I think if the nonprofits can get together and collaborate, and if I have a veteran come to me and I can't help him one way, but I can point him in direction to another way, it makes it a lot smoother for that veteran, because as we all know, navigating VA and other areas gets a little difficult and frustrating. So, Mike and I talked quite a bit about the collaboration aspect. And when I saw he was working with you and Oscar Mike Radio over here and trying to get things going and just, get the word out there that for the veterans out there, there is help, and you're dealing with other veterans that know what you've been through and can talk with you. There's so many programs. Like when I was deployed to Afghanistan in 0203, there wasn't much when you came back home in reference to VA or the vet centers or anything like that. And then, 08, 09 to Iraq, and then 2014 to Cuba, it started to really become prevalent. And, there's so many nonprofits and help out there, and it's confidential and it's with veterans. Veterans helping veterans is what it's all about. And, I think the big thing is to strike close to the heart with the young soldiers because they don't see that yet. And if I knew that when I was deployed in '02, I would have reached out then. But now, I really, the vet center, they have vet centers all over Mass and Rhode Island. Huge, huge proponent of helping soldiers with PTS and navigating through the waters of that. And it's done wonders for me, and I'm grateful that they're out there. So I don't want to take up too much more time because you fellas definitely have a lot to talk about. But I'm just glad to be a part of that collaboration.
Now, Greg, with the vet center, did you start going there while you were still in the service?
Actually, it was after I got out of the service. People may have PTS and not know it, and then there's certain things that trigger it. And you got to have your resources. You need to talk to people, and I talk to my guy all the time, and it's a huge lift off my shoulders to just get it out there and talk about it. Unfortunately, we've seen it just in our battalion alone. So many soldiers taking their lives, young soldiers, old soldiers, all different ages. But and you sit there and scratch your head and you wonder if they knew those resources were out there or if they knew who they would be talking to. Because I think once you know there's a veteran on the other side of that phone, you're kind of at ease a little bit and you feel like you can talk to them man to man, woman to woman, and really get to the crux of the issue.
And it's true, we've got, support all over the state. I mean, if you look at home base program, you've got Sergeant Major Davidson there. And, you've got guys that have, deployed with the battalion and been there. And, that I feel like that's the most important part is having a peer that's been through a situation that you have to talk with. And that's what I think is the most, valuable asset that nonprofits have versus the VA where they're just hiring employees, where nonprofits have those volunteers that have that experience and, have that care that they've been, giving, whether it's through the nonprofit or it's, through their service to other organizations. I feel like that's, such a key to our organization. Do you feel like the same with yours?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we actually work closely with the Providence VA and the homeless population. Our president is out there almost daily and talking to the homeless veterans and seeing what they need. And, he's a veteran, not combat, but he served in the Vietnam era. And he, they love talking to him, and whatever they need, we try to get them food, clothing. If they get a housing assistance, our nonprofit, New Englanders Helping Our Veterans, is able to a lot of times outfit these veterans in a 1-bedroom apartment with all their furnishings. So it's a great collaborative effort with the VA in Providence, and the the veteran to veteran outreach is huge to talking to these folks, and they're thankful to have an organization. Our organization has 5 veterans, including myself, and other 5 board members are family members of veterans. So we're certainly very veteran oriented, and we're out there every day. We work closely with local town and city VSOs if they can't assist them because of the handcuffs and guidelines of Chapter 115, et cetera. They put in go right on our website, which is www.nehovnehov.org. And there's a submit button for a veteran. Anybody can submit a veteran. Veteran doesn't have to do it. A friend, family member, coworker. And we reach out to them and we tell them what we're all about. And it's amazing stuff. And I can't wait to see where NEHOV goes this year. We're trying to get into a building to store furniture and medical equipment and clothing that these veterans desperately need. So,
is there a fundraiser going on or a place where people can donate to your organization?
Yeah, so right on our website, we do have a donate button, but we actually have an up and coming event February 25th. It's Saturday, February 25th this month, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. I got a flyer. I can email it out. It's at the Angle Tree Brewery in North Attleboro, 45 Elm Street in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. We're going to have acoustic set, a live band, live auction on some really cool stuff, and raffle tables going. It's going to be a great event, and Angle Tree Brewery is going to give back a percentage of proceeds to our organization, as well as what we take in as donations on the raffles and the auction pieces. Everybody's donated all their time and their facilities. We haven't had to have a lot of out of pocket expenses, and as well as I do, Mike. That's huge for us nonprofits that are trying to operate. We don't have a lot of overhead, a lot of donation money. We want to keep it to help the veterans. So.
Now, do you guys need anything for the raffle, or do you guys
So
have
I've
any
been reaching.
raffled off?
I've been reaching out. I've been reaching out to different organizations. We're starting to get some items come in for the raffle table. Right now, the live auction, we have a huge event that it's a personal chef friend of mine. He's going to cook a 10 to 13 plate meal for 8 people at his residence in Sutton. Beautiful home, beautiful kitchen, and he'll include dessert and liqueur of limoncello and something else. And then you can obviously the winning bid can bring what they need to if they want to have different alcohol, wine, beer, whatever. And along with that, we're working with a local limousine company right now to offer a limousine to and from his residence, because I know a lot of people concerned about, oh, we got to drive to Sutton, etc. So I think it's going to be huge. We also have a pair of Red Sox tickets that was donated from a local law firm. Um, I'll definitely get that out there. I don't have it right in front of me, but they're offering up a pair of Red Sox tickets, great seats in May. And then we got the Patriots, New England Patriots Foundation is sending a autographed jersey of Jacoby Myers, active player right now. Um, so we're doing pretty well. The raffle table itself will have gift cards, gift baskets, grills, turkey cookers, all that stuff.
Make sure you reach out to Providence Bruins. I know they do a lot with supporting stuff for a charity event like that. Whether they'll send a signed item or something from the gift shop. Providence Bruins have always been good. When I was commander of the Legion of Foxborough, they would send stuff up.
Absolutely.
And yeah, if you can grab us a flyer, we'll definitely cross promote and share that for the 25th. You said.
Yeah, February 25th, 4 p.m. start. 6 p.m. will be the first acoustic set, Mike Weber, and then right around the 7 to 8 o'clock hour, we're going to do the live auction pieces, just so that way there, if there's individuals that come in from a distance, they want to leave early, or we'll have the people that are following the band, coming in, so we'll have an overlap there that want to watch the band after. So I think that's going to be a perfect timing. Is 7 to 8 will be the live auction. We'll run the raffles most of the night. You won't have to be there in person. You can put your name and phone number. If we pull it, we'll get it to you. So we're looking forward to it. It's one of our biggest events we've tried to put together for fundraising effort in the last year. So we're excited about it, and we want everybody and anyone to come on out, have a good time, and still all for a great cause.
One thing that I wanted to ask you both as I'm sitting here is, you know, we had a veteran, pass by his own choosing, a week ago, right? And the question I keep getting asked is, with all these nonprofits and organizations around here, why aren't veterans seeking out that help instead of doing this? And I really didn't have a good answer for that. And I wanted to know if you all had any, perspective or thoughts on that, because you're doing great work, Craig. I mean, and Mike's doing great work, and everybody's doing great work, but we're still missing people through the cracks.
Now, for me, it's tough for the outreach sometimes. Being able to get a hold of these people. You know, what I've seen is a lot of people will leave the military service, and the last thing they want to do is reach out to somebody that's in the military. They're so overwhelmed by everything military that they push it away for a while. And you see it happen with a lot of membership of people that join, like the organizations, the Legions, the VFWs. You see them join 10, 15 years after they get out because they're so burnt out from it. And I feel like that we need to come up with more ways to advertise and to promote the things that happen at the VA and these programs, like the PACT Act and like everything that included. Needs to be pushed out to these people that aren't connected to the nonprofits, that aren't watching this tonight, that that don't know that we exist. Those are the people that we really need to push more information to. And I don't know if that falls under the VA to do more, or if it falls into us to make sure we're getting into the community, through other organizations that aren't solely military or veteran centered.
One of the ideas that was posted to me was more family outreach, like telling a mother or father or a wife or girlfriend, spouse, because there's women that go through this too, what to look for and how to get help and ask for help. What do you all think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, like Mike was saying about the, affiliate organizations, VFWs, and, other organizations like that, is that they get a bad rap because when you get out, you go to these halls and everybody's drinking, and it's, these soldiers that are just getting out of the military service may have issues, and that's not helping it. So, but Mike hit it right on the head when he said, 10, 15 years after you get out, you end up realigning yourself with these organizations. And I'm guilty, and now we're seeing these VFW halls starting to close because they don't have any members. It's all the old timers that are, health issues and unfortunately passing along. And our era, Gulf War veterans, we're not in those halls trying to make them survive. And I truly think it's because the stigma tied to it of, oh, all you do is go to the VF hall and, drink, and you don't resolve your problems. And that's where these nonprofits come into play. It's huge. And, I'm finding out very quickly that there's a great network out there. And if we can keep that network together, we can reach more veterans, and work with your local VSOs in town. I mean, talk about a vetting system, because unfortunately, even in the business of nonprofits and helping people, there are people out there that try to take advantage. And, it's nature of the beast and cost of doing business. But working with the VA directly in Providence for our organization, we get a good vetting process because the VA has been dealing with them. And as well as I work closely with the North Attleboro Plainville Rentham Veteran Service Officer. And when he finds someone that needs help that he can't help, he'll reach right out to me. We've done many things together, projects together for local veterans that may not have received help because they weren't eligible for benefits through Chapter 115 or the VA. And we've been able to help install wheelchair ramps, fix washing machines, give them grocery cards, fuel assistance, you name it. We run a gamut. We just had a project in Rhode Island we wrapped up. 91-year-old Korean War veteran, his roof caved in, basically. Needed his first floor gutted and brought back up. Took a year, but we were able to collaborate with the local business, get an adjuster in there, and get everything paid through his insurance, not a dime out of the veteran's pocket. $80,000+ job, So we can do it. It's gonna, and that's why we always lean on Takes a Village and collaborating with all our other nonprofits and businesses out there that want to help veterans. It's amazing what you can do.
Now, does discharge status affect who you're able to help?
So for us, truly, we are. If you've served in the service in a capacity, either stateside or not, we don't. As long as we have an ID or a 214, we don't need to see if you were, a combat veteran or injured or, homeless or anything. That's the great thing about us, being able to help soldiers and veterans that served in one capacity or other, and we can do it rather quickly. We don't have the red tape and the rigmarole to go through VA benefits or Chapter 115, et cetera. And that's the awesome thing about it. We can get out there and assess it and help them rather quickly.
Absolutely. A couple of people logged on. I see Robert Kersey. He owns Miller Time Designs. They're the ones that do the stickers for Hellfish Haven. And we
Nice.
got Uncle Barry S. Steves, who's a master sergeant with us in the guard.
But Barry probably wants to get on just to bust my chops. He was my platoon sergeant a long time ago.
He walked up and pushed the button on the MRAP that lets all the purple stuff go. Walked away and said, "Hey, did you clean that up for me?"
Yeah, right. That sounds like Barry.
Just to see what it would do. He's like, "What does this do?" Everybody's like, "No." He's like, stuff you can get away with up there.
What has serving others in this capacity done for you, Craig? Because a lot of veterans go through their trauma and they're processing it. But a couple I've run into, and myself included, would say that when you continue being of service, that does something that I really can't explain. What do you think that is?
Well, it's very humbling, to tell you the truth. Being a veteran and helping veterans. I mean, I've been able to be part of a team that has helped veterans from the age of 20 all the way to the age of 82 and beyond. I mean, the veteran in Johnston, Rhode Island was 91. So it truly is. Every time I help a veteran, it just like resonates with me and leaves me that much better of a person, as well as the veteran in a position that they can help themselves after. So I would say it's rather humbling. And back to the part of the help again. If people go on our Facebook page, New Englanders Helping Our Veterans, that's like we keep that up. We're posting all the time, and it's getting huge on us. We're over 1,500 followers now, and it keeps climbing every day. And we're sharing constantly everything we're doing. And we also share and give props to all the other collaborative efforts with other nonprofits, other businesses, foundations that help. So it's starting to take off. Last year was a building period for us to get a board of directors in place, and just really hitting home to the veterans that are reached out. Sometimes we just had neighbors that are concerned for a veteran, and then we contact them, and they're amazed that, wow, someone really cares. They may not have reached out on their own, but someone else did it, a family member, neighbor, coworker, and we pick up the phone or we drop by their house and we say, "Hey, how you doing? It's Craig from New England is Helping Our Veterans. We heard you need a wheelchair ramp. We're going to take care of that." And they just look at you in amazement, like their jaws dropped and their eyes are wide open, like, wow, someone's helping me and I didn't ask for it, but I need it. It's amazing.
The VA did finally update one of those policies on being able to adapt a house, where it used to be only a once in a lifetime grant that you could get. Now you can get the grant if you've moved to a different home or your disability has changed and you need to adapt the house further. So now, after I want to say 8 to 9 years after the first original award, you can get it again. So hopefully that'll leave some of these stressors on people. But it's just wild, the paperwork and like you said, the red tape that these veterans have to go through in order to get the assistance that they were promised.
Yeah, it's so true. And a lot of us I still consider myself younger, contrary to what Barry might be posting over there.
Oh,
But um, it's and I have at least half a brain, I believe, and it's sometimes difficult to navigate the VA stuff on my own. Never mind, you look at a Vietnam era veteran or as Korean War veteran, they don't know what a computer is. So to try and they won't even reach out. I mean, a perfect example is my father-in-law was 75 years old right now. He's a Vietnam veteran, and he just got VA rated about 2 to 3 years ago. Never knew about it, never really looked into it. So a lot of the older veterans just wore it on their sleeve and didn't want help or didn't reach out for help or didn't know it was there. So, the more avenues that we can provide to these veterans, whether we help them directly or indirectly, that's what we're trying to establish at New Englanders, and I'm sure Mike and the rest of the guys that we work with, Mike Peterson over at Pellini and Jeff and Gagiel over at Locken, are trying to do is educate and help in any way we can. If you don't need your car fixed, but you need help with comp and pen, we got advocates that are amazing that will help you from day one to the finish. And it's all about help and trying to help the veterans without any cost to them, because a lot of times the veterans are living from their disability comp and pen checks. And as much as everybody says it's a large amount, when you're trying to support yourself and maybe a family member or a family, it doesn't go that far. So,
especially with the rates of rent increasing over the last year and the cost of everything else going up. It's just that percentage money though, that the retirement that people are getting from the service isn't going that far.
absolutely.
Have any of you ever dealt with a veteran who their branch of service and or the VA lost their records and they couldn't get a claim going? Is that something you run into a lot?
I have not seen that yet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that, but we have a great relationship with a VA advocate that she would do. She could find records or help the person get records, but most of them have records in some capacity. And again, your local VSOs are fantastic with that. They could run your name real quick and find a DD 214. I know, was it back in the 70s? There was a fire at the archives, and that might have affected some
Yeah, St. Louis.
records keeping. Yeah,
I did hear about
but
that. I was just curious if you all had ever personally experienced it with yourselves or somebody else.
When I went through training with the VFW to be a service officer to be able to help people with their claims, a lot of people discussed it during the classes of it happening to guys, in that generation that lost it in the fire. And a lot of the backups, were physically somewhere, whether it was stored in the old unit, whether it was, at the National Guard headquarters, and their paperwork in Milford, has been there for years. And it's surprising what's actually still there versus what was supposed to be sent to Big Army after X amount of time you've been out of the service, versus what's actually still sitting in offices where paperwork was supposed to leave years ago. But fortunately for some people, it's still there. And if you go to the hospital that you were seen at while you were in the service, sometimes there's records there. So it is making sure you exhaust all your avenues before giving up. We had a guy that he had to prove that he was getting the annuity payment that comes in February and August for those that are 100% disabled, and there was a difference in his name between him being his name and him being a junior that caused a big mess up in the system when somebody entered it and couldn't find him. And so they were able to go through the system, and the VSO from his town was able to be the one to call the state, talk to the Treasury Department, and get those records released. So the VSOs have a lot of connections, and if it's a one that's worth their weight, like the gentleman we got on the first week, it's always good to go with them and chat with them and see what resources they have available, or see what organizations they know of that work locally, because they're the ones that are best to start off with. Someone local, someone knowledgeable of the different programs. And if you don't have anybody there, you're welcome to come to the Havens. We'll show you what we've got, the resources we've connected with. I was mentioning last week, collaborate.vet is the Greater Boston Veterans Collaborative, and it's a Massachusetts-wide collaborative. They've got organizations all over the place that are all connected, and they have a joint calendar they put up too. So it's if you need some information, you can go on their Slack channel, and you don't even have to talk to someone. You can just search through the Slack channel and see what's available.
Oh,
Don't have
nice.
to invent the wheel.
That's cool. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can walk and chew gum at the same time, gents. I don't know if I'm that good, but we're going to try this. I'm going to try getting this picture up of the event that Craig's and his team are putting on. Let's see here.
We have it on our Facebook, and we've been putting it out on a lot of the group Facebooks, 747 alumni and 772, 972, all them. So, and we're going to keep, putting them out. We don't want to, overdo it, but we want people to know the event's there, and I mean, we're excited about it. I think it's going to be a great event, and if it's something that we kind of look for an annual fundraiser, that's what we're hoping to turn into, because we get so many donations in furniture, clothing, like big medical equipment, wheelchairs, beds, that some of these veterans can't afford or can't get through their insurance because they just don't they can't receive those benefits. They're not eligible. So, but we have no place to store it right now. So that's the big thing. Hopefully this year you'll see NEHOB with a building somewhere in southeastern Mass or Rhode Island, and we could have donations dropped off, or veterans come and get donations. The other part of it is, again, I speak about the collaboration. It's amazing to work with all different organizations and businesses, people and individuals that just want to help veterans. And the veterans we help, a lot of times, want to help us back. So they'll come to
Oh,
an
yeah.
event. They'll come to an event, or they'll help us get some furniture and load it up for the day, and then we'll sit down and have a nice lunch or dinner together, and they're happy, and they gave back to us after we helped them. So it's pretty amazing to see that aspect of it as well.
That's really cool. I mean, it goes to your point of talking about, supporting each other and, being there for each other instead of making it a contest. It's got to be important for you all.
And I think as a veteran, receiving help, you just gotta keep getting the word out there that there are organizations like Mike's and Hellfish Haven and the Specialist Pellini Foundation, Larkin Motors Foundation, our foundation, our team of New England is helping our veterans. There's many more out there. I might be missing some, so I apologize, but we're all out there to help our veterans. We're not, and we want it to be known, because, again, the bottom line is, when you're a veteran and you serve your country, for you to reach out and ask for help is probably the biggest thing and the hardest thing that a veteran will ever do. But once the help's given and received, they are truly humbled and honored that someone cared enough for them. And
Right.
we see that a lot, because neighbors and family members and coworkers are the ones that reaching out for us for the veteran, and they're just amazed that we were able to do the things that we can do.
Barry, when you get a chance, if you want to email me, bmg@hellfishhaven.org, I'd definitely love to learn more about New England Adventure. The only organization I know like does something like that is Rifles to Rods. They're a good organization. They take guys out on the boat, bring them out for a fishing day free of charge. They had set up with 22 Mohawks a little while back, and they sent 20 guys out on a boat, 5 or 6 hours just out there fishing. And that's what's nice about having these different nonprofits, is each one has their own thing. When people start a nonprofit, the most important thing is to know where you're going with it. There's too many organizations that are out there that are veteran nonprofits that are helping somebody but aren't actually helping anyone. They're collecting money. They're doing the stuff to help veterans, to be a veterans initiative. That word is thrown around too often. We're creating a veterans initiative, but what is it? It's 5% off at your store? That's not really an initiative. It's you want to do something that's actually affecting people and helping them. So it's whether it's backpacks to go to the homeless guys at the different centers, or if it's toiletry items available, for guys to come in, or Project New Hope in Worcester. They have a food pantry set up that people can call ahead and come in and be able to stock up. Even they have a baby pantry a couple times a week. Things like that have like their setting, and like they know what they're doing. Like being able to help people like you guys do, like reaching out to them where they are. I feel like that's the best way right now to get people, especially after COVID, where like people are more hesitant to come into events.
It certainly is challenging sometimes getting the word out there and letting people know what you're doing and getting that really good help. But what's it like, guys, when you make that connection and somebody gets the help? I mean, you kind of touched on it earlier, Craig, but more on a day-to-day basis where you grind, you grind, you grind, and nothing seems to happen, and then all of a sudden this good stuff happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing I can fall back on is it's humbling, number one, but it's also amazing because I'm in a position that I can help people, and truly help them in a manner that they couldn't help themselves with. It's just I can't even describe it. It's pretty cool, to help a veteran. I mean, we just helped a veteran in North Attleboro, 82 years old, has Parkinson's, and his wife, the washing machine was broken, so she had to bring him out every day. And now he's in a position where he can't walk, so she needed a wheelchair ramp as well. But she had to take him every day to go do laundry. Um, we were able to go visit him, and while our team was talking with her and her husband, I was able to make a phone call to a local small appliance repairman, and he came over the next day and took care of the washing machine for them. She was just the next time we showed up to do the ramp, it was within a week. We did the ramp, and she came out with like baked goods and cookies and everything because she wanted to show
Oh,
appreciation. So,
very
It's
nice.
awesome. It is
so
too. I do think it's a lot of the giving back. Like for me, it was like starting Hellfish Haven was a no brainer because I'd gotten the help from the Special Spleen Foundation, and I'd gotten help from Hidden Battles to reach out to Operation Delta Dog and to get my service dog, and like to see how these organizations had come together for that, and to see how Hidden Battles, founder Scott was able to, he's throwing his name out there and putting it on the line for, me he hadn't even met, just based off of, Mike's word. And it was, see those things is awesome. And like, that is what I think, like when we were talking about earlier, the collaboration between our nonprofits is such a vital thing to have and to reach a wider audience. And I definitely do want to build on that, over the next year.
yeah, absolutely. Travis was mentioning earlier about the frustrations of veterans and what they fall into to try to receive benefits that they're truly entitled to, but can't. And the more knowledge, the I guess the mantra of like nonprofit working, as competition against another nonprofit. I don't believe in that. I believe in, and Mike said it earlier. We all have our little niche. We're not doing the same things, but we can navigate a veteran through that without them having to worry about it. They come to New England as helping our veterans and they need assistance with PTS or suicide. I get them over to Hellfish Haven, Hidden Battles. I've worked quite a bit with Mike Peterson over at Pellini Foundation, and he's been amazing. You ask him, hey, we got a veteran that we're looking to get some rent for. Immediately, okay, what do you need? All right, $500, here you go. And then we help them in the same manner when they need it. So it's not working against each other, but it's all working together to do our mission of taking care of veterans. And I just think that as the word gets out there more and more with our younger generation, that's where it's going to hit home, especially with the stigma of the suicide and PTS, that these young soldiers are proud and don't want to admit that they might have a chink in their armor, and but these resources are out there, and they're out there for us veterans, and they're amazing. You just gotta get up, step up to the line, and make that first step forward, and you won't be looking back and regretting it. That's for sure. You'll get the help you need, and then some.
Well, I think that's what it is, and it's just so good that you're able to come on tonight and share, a little bit about your story and what New England Helping Our Veterans does in the Attleboro area. And Attleboro, as I recall, in my experience too, really takes care of its veterans and really has a lot of pride in doing that. Um, I guess we got like 20 minutes. A lot of time flies when we're having fun, but you know, for 2023, I can't believe it's February 1st day, but what do we have to do as veterans to take care of ourselves better this year? Because sometimes I think we can't depend upon the VA or somebody else doing it for us. We got to take action. What can the average, I hate to say average, but what can the veteran do to take care of themselves better this year?
I'd say, maintaining, community and conversation with their fellow vets. Uh, you know, Picking up that phone and making a call. It doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be every week. If you have a monthly check-in with, somebody you served with, just for me, like personally, like I'll talk to, Bill Dufault will give me a call, it'll be good. And, they'll pump me up for, a couple days afterwards. And, like, yeah, it was a really good call with Billy D, so you have these things and, you go out. I just want to challenge guys to, to do that, to have that buddy or the partner, and continue to reach out to those friends. When I randomly feel it, and I'm like, hey, I gotta go text one of the guys that's on our board, Noah Amatucci. I'll send him a message and be like, hey, Noah, what's going on? I served 2 tours with him, and it's good to have these people that were there with you, just to reflect things off, or question things, or even with what's going on in your life day to day. You had them there 24 hours, 7 days a week while you were, deployed, while you're active duty, and now you don't have it. So it's like that little like support, like people don't put that as much as important as, physical and mental health, but it is important to have community, and it is important to have, outlets to go to not just be stuck at home and, isolating. So I just want to, I hope people, this year, try not to isolate as much as we have been, and reach out, whether it's on the phone, whether it's playing a video game together, whether it's coming into the Haven, bringing your family in, and just having an afternoon hanging out.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I think Mike hit that last part right. Family. A lot of the veterans have family, and they feel like they don't want to reach out for help or get help because they can't show that weakness to their family. But that's why the collaborative part of what we're trying to do here is we find out about programs like Rods to Rifles, Home Base, and others out there in Massachusetts that will do family events for veterans, not just for the veteran. And there's all sorts of events out there. They're free for the veteran and their family. So it's not, just working on the veteran themselves, but it's working on their family too. And, I think the key thing for our veterans out there in the audience is they need to take care of themselves first before they can take care of anybody else. And that's what we are here for. Um, they need to know that there's other veterans out there that have been through what they have gone through, and that they can reach out, and it's not looked upon or judged upon any differently because Mike's been through his battles. I've been through mine. Travis, I'm sure you've had yours. We all do.
Right, right.
Nobody's perfect, and nobody's immune to it. Sometimes it hits sooner than later, So I truly think the veteran needs to take care of themselves and know that there's organizations out there like us that are there to help them fight their battles and get them on the right path.
They do. They definitely have to have that, self motivation to want to fight, because you can't make them do it. You can lead them there, but you can't push them to that last inch.
Yeah, and even in our business, sometimes you're trying to help a veteran and they're not helping themselves, and you can only get so far with them, and it's frustrating. But for everyone that you can't help, there's about 100 plus that we've helped and have been ecstatic about it. So
Yeah, when I lived at Mass Bay Veteran Center in Somerville, It was tough. You saw the mix. You saw the veterans that had, come out of either being homeless, incarcerated, whatever their situation was that led them to the shelter. Uh, some of them were out there and seeking ways to improve themselves. Others were like, I'm done. I'm just gonna sit here and collect my VA check and do nothing. And it's like, if you're not willing to do anything to help yourself, how do you expect to grow? How do you expect to improve your situation? So it's always look at it that there is a way to improve whatever situation you're in, and keep that the resiliency that we talked about the beginning and what the show's for, and keep that out there, and it is a tough battle sometimes, but it can be won.
Absolutely agree with that.
Well, I think the thing is we get out of the military and we forget no one fights alone, and we fight alone, and then we start losing the battles, and bad things happen, and more bad things happen. And I think to what you all are saying is, if we can get you out of the military and around a good support group and the right kind of people, or maybe you're not close to a VFW or an American Legion, but you want to stay connected. If you can connect virtually or through video games or through an event like the one you're putting on, Craig, your chances of having a good experience are much higher.
Absolutely, and I think that's what's needed. Not just the traditional, VFW belly up to the bar. I got the next round, and believe me, I'm not speaking bad of the VFW, because VFW does amazing things too in their communities, but unfortunately, they're still trying to get out from the old days of the bars being full with veterans and starting fights. And I'm a member of my local VFW, and we have like 7 people, and it's always the same 7 that show up to a meeting, and it's tough to see. And again, it's unfortunately they have a cloud over their heads, and they're trying to figure out ways to do it. And I think a lot of it is starting to look towards family oriented events so that the whole family could come out and enjoy it, not just a veteran taking a few hours to cope with a bad day and have a few beers or drinks. So, and I'm working, directly with the VFWs too. When they see a veteran in trouble or needs help, they're reaching out. So it's truly a grassroots effort, and it needs to continue. And you need to work with everybody and anybody you can that has the mission of taking care of veterans. It's not all about our organization, New England is helping our veterans, or Hellfish Haven. It's about all of us working together to get that done.
Well, I mean, Barry writes nonprofits seem to fight for sponsorships against each other, and I would say that's accurate. I don't think people understand. If you're in the wrong kind of vein or lane, the dogfight for any kind of dollar you can get. Sad to say, but in our but it's even in our community where you went to that golf tournament, not mine, so now I'm mad at you. Something simple as that, or you gave to one org, we didn't give to the one I wanted. I don't want anything to do with you, and we're all trying to win the same game. It seems like.
And it's tough too because you see these large organizations with all these corporate sponsorships and all this money that's being sent to them yearly, and a lot of it's going out to marketing campaigns, and a lot of it's going out to pay the staff, and like the how much is going to the veterans program. Like it's not a lot that's going there. And then you go look at these grants, and you look at these offers that are out there, and it's like a lot of them want you to have money before they'll even give you money. So it's tough, crawling up and doing these things, and finding the grants that you fit into, but then you are competing against 50 to 60 other nonprofits that may meet that criteria a little bit better than you do. And grant writing is something I'm definitely learning along the way, but I can see why people get paid big money to do it.
Yeah, I would echo those efforts, but um, as far as the larger nonprofits, I think what the difference here is that all our organizations that have been working together were all volunteer. We don't take any money from the organization. We take every dollar we can and give it back to the veterans. And the other part of it is Mike touched upon it with grant writing. I know Larkin Motors, myself, New England is helping our veterans. We're having a tough time with grant writing because we're all volunteer, but all of us also have full-time jobs too
Right,
and
right.
families. So the only one that doesn't is Jimmy. He's 70-year-old and he's our face man. He runs around and hands the checks and furniture out and everything else. But there actually is a lot of grant/donations out there, but you just got to try and find that way to find them. And that's what grant writers do. That's their niche, and they know how to find the money. Um, I've been putting up posts, and I know Jeff and Larkin Motors have been putting up posts trying to find grant writers to help us smaller organizations because that's how we run. Um, and it's tough, but you try to make ends meet, and you reach out. Mike's out there in the Boston area versus me and New Englanders helping our veterans out here in Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts. So when we have events, it's not necessarily taken away from Mike's efforts in that area versus us down here in southeastern Mass and Rhode Island. So you gotta stay vigilant and you gotta work hard at it. It doesn't come easy, but if you can find that niche and make it work, it's well worth it. And you can slowly grow those donation pools into a larger amount that then you can go for those bigger grants through those bigger foundations. I'm finding that out myself right now. So
A big thing too is if you look at the Kirsten Library in Boston, you can go downstairs to the Kirsten Library, and it's just for small business and nonprofits to use. There was money put away from the family long ago. They created this, and you can actually go onto the computer and you can search, these companies, how much they donated to, nonprofits that support veterans. You say you type in like Coca-Cola, you see they donated, $250,000 for these programs XYZ, and it helps you find some of these grants and things like that. So if you haven't yet, you can get somebody up to the Kirsten Library and talk with some of the librarians there. They can show you how to use the software, and you can actually use it from home. One day a month, you can use it from home to search the library of grants and donors that have donated previously in Massachusetts.
Yeah, that is the things we're winding down here is, if that is one of those things where I tell a nonprofit, hey, it's very tempting to go out and buy all this swag and merch and, fancy this and fancy that. But, take that money and invest in a grant writer or a consultant who knows what they're doing and get that grant done right the first time instead of beating your head against a brick wall over a mistake. Because I try to tell people, look, you do a grant and you get one section wrong or you make a sentence sound a certain way, it's getting rejected. Just as simple as that, and you've got to start all over again. And so, think about what you want, and then get the person who's going to help you get it there the fastest.
yeah, a lot of what I'm finding out, and again, I'm just scratching the surface. I've had a little bit of time off and kind of scratching my head going, all right, what foundations are out there? All right, let's look at these big foundations: New England Patriots Foundation, Boston Bruins, Red Sox, and Jordans, Cardis. They're all out there. You just gotta, and each one is different. I find that there's a lot of local banks in your areas that do community grants and sponsorships and donations as well. And some of the applications are literally like one page online, fill in the blanks, and others are rather intricate where I actually had to have our accountant assist with some of the numbers and generations of fields because it was so involved. It just runs the gamut. And, we've had a couple grant writers kind of scratch the surface with us, but then you don't hear from them and you don't blame them. They're working full time doing that. But I'm almost at a point where I want see if there's a grant writer out there, and if they garner us some type of a grant, we'll give them 5%, that grant money or something, just to start getting the grants come in. But, it's right now I'm just trying to do what I can do, and if I get a $5,000 donation from a foundation, at least I tried. If I didn't get anything, at least I tried. But
Right, right.
you just got to keep looking at those alternative means as well.
So again, I am Travis Parrington, Marine Corps veteran, host of Oscar Mike Radio. My co-host for WAR is Michael Gary, U.S. Army veteran with Hellfish Haven, and we're joined by Craig Chapman, Vice President of New England, helping our veterans. And it's just been a really interesting talk to hear somebody else going through the same kind of challenges, a lot of other places to go through, things to do right. And the thing I'm hearing is, hey, don't be afraid to collaborate and to get that support. More is one, but more is more than one, right? And let's get the help out there and benefit from it, right?
Absolutely. There's tons of organizations, foundations, businesses, and individuals that want to help veterans. And when you reach out to them, I mean, the Home Depot Foundation is huge. And you get together with your local manager at your local Home Depot, you can make things happen. We helped a veteran in Attleboro have a walk-in shower, brand new, electrical, fan, lighting, $16,000. Home Depot Foundation covered 100% of it. So it's out there. You got to dig. You got to work for it. And like I said earlier, it truly takes a village. And I'm glad Michael and you, Travis, have started this platform to start the collaboration and keep it going, because behind the scenes it is going. Like I said, it's great to know other nonprofits such as Polini and Larkin and Jeff Engagiola and Mike Peterson, Mike over at Hellfish Haven. Get those connections with these other organizations. Hidden Battles is coming, works a lot. New Hope Project. They're all out there. We all need to work together, and we can make big things happen.
Awesome.
We do share all those resources on hellfishhaven.org. If you look at resources, we've got a bunch of them listed there, like Easter Seals, Massachusetts, helping the veterans. And even like right after this program, like if you go over to, I think AM 960, Hidden Battles has their own show on Wednesday nights. Like you'll be following us here. Like if you want to, continue talking about veterans and, first responders, they have a program that runs 8 to 10, I believe. AM, let me just make sure I'm saying the right thing. Travis, you want to take it for a second? I'm going to just
Yep. And so I have links to New England Helping Our Veterans, Hellfish Haven, Oscar Mike Radio in the chat there. Look, just click on it, find out what's going on. We're going to be doing this. We're not going away. But the core of what we do is to celebrate our resilience as veterans, but to also encourage you to take action to help yourself and somebody else out.
Yep, absolutely. And if Facebook is, we're up to date on that, like by the minute, by the hour. We're posting everything on there. We share it. Hellfish posts something, Oscar Mike posts something, Polini, we share it. So, we're building the base of Facebook out there. But the thing I'll leave you with is that if anyone knows a veteran that needs assistance, it's out there. We're here to help, and we'll do what we got to do to make it happen. Sometimes the first step has to be made by someone else that's near and dear to the veteran than the veteran themselves. But that's the biggest thing to know. There's many nonprofits like us out there to help.
Barry, I got to get with Michael because I do have something next Wednesday night that I can't miss, but we'll probably do this like Tuesday or probably Tuesday night of next week, just a one-time thing to adapt and overcome. But, we're on this. This isn't the last one.
Yeah. And it is 980 on AM. You can also listen online. If you go to Hidden Battles Facebook page, they've got more information on how to click and listen to them. And it's kind of nice to be able to, transition that and say, hey, you watched our show, enjoy something a little different, but, continuing to focus on the veteran community.
All right. Well, it's almost time, and time has flown by. Craig, I want to thank you for coming on. Michael, really appreciate everything you do, brother. And we will see you next week. We are resilient. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me.